Mikey B here again, technical marketing evangelist here at Nutanix, and today we're diving into Nutanix Enterprise AI once again as part of our how-to series covering IAM, or Identity Access Management, for NAI 2.5, showing how to configure things like local users, LDAP, Active Directory, and SAML, and how that works. And today we are covering how to integrate SAML into NAI. Let's go. So you need to log in as an administrator into Nutanix Enterprise AI to get going. At this point, you simply click on users, and here you'll see these new options that we've talked about in previous videos. And here at the top, if you have not seen those, we now have one called IDP configuration. This is a configuration that allows you to add an identity provider that could be Active Directory, and in this case, SAML. So we're simply going to click on SAML, which will bring up a whole bunch of new options. One thing you may have noticed is how so many of them say optional, which is totally fine. These are there so that you can configure your unique SAML profile the way you'd like it. All the configured work is done via the import metadata button here, where you take your XML file from your SAML configuration and upload it in the correct format. And we'll show you how to do that from a test perspective. So from a test perspective, we're actually going to use a couple of well-known tools on the web. Let's go to those. So quickly, there's one called Mock SAML, and there's also one called Dummy IDP. Fun names, right? Each one of these have the capabilities to quickly download a metadata file, which then you can use to test out Nutanix Enterprise AI's SAML configuration. So we're simply going to save this file to our downloads, and then we're going to go back to our NAI configuration, and we're going to fill out a couple of these fields and import that file. So here I'm going to give the configuration a name. I'm going to call this Mock SAML Test. I'm going to leave the other fields blank, and I'm going to click on the import metadata button. Here you can see in our downloads, our SAML metadata XML is available, and I'm going to click on open. And with that, I'm going to now click on save. So this automatically checks that file in Nutanix Enterprise AI for the valid fields as well as the necessary pieces and imports it if it is correct. If it's not, we'll show you some tools later on that you can use to validate and to check that. All right, let's add a user to our authorization policies to allow this new SAML user to log in. So we're simply going to click on authorization policies, and here we have two choices, admin and user. You might also notice there's a lot of options grayed out. Well, this is the first time that IAM from Nutanix has been integrated into NAI in version 2.5, so some of these options will become more extendable in the future and allow them to be configured. So we're going to simply click on user, and here it brings up a whole new screen. This is more of a view-only screen, so we simply click edit to start the process of adding a user. Now you'll notice it goes through a guided experience. You can turn this on or off. For the sake of this video, as well as some other things, how-to-wise, I highly suggest you leave it on. In the left-hand side, you see three different options: choose role, define scope, and identities. Again, because this is the first implementation of NAI with IAM, choose role and define scope are going to be really limited. So we're kind of just going to click next through those and get to identities. So here on choose role, we're going to click next. And then here on define scope, we're going to leave the default options again and click next as well. This takes us to actually where we take an identity, either a local user or your configured IDP, and allow them to be added. So we're simply going to drop down here and go to mock test user. And we are going to add a user here. Again, based on the current mock SAML, we can basically add any user with @example.com or @example.org. It's not going to list them here. So I'm going to type in my name @example.org, and I am going to add them. And you can see here, based on the test user, I am added and now part of this authorization policy, and I'm going to simply click save. All right, let's log in with this new SAML user. First things first, let's double check to make sure this new user we added to an authorization policy is now part of our identities. So we're going to click on identities, and it'll bring up a list of all of our local users. So we're going to click on this button that says imported users here. And there we go. We can see that there's two. One is a test that I did that failed, and the other one is the exact user that we added to the authorization policy. And this is good to differentiate. Again, unless a user, even in SAML, has been added to an authorization policy, they are not allowed to log in. All right, let's test this. So I'm going to go to admin and I'm going to log out. And here you've noticed that the login screen has changed. And now we have front and center login with mock SAML test. So we're going to click on this. And now you can see we've actually been moved over to the mock SAML site, which is simulating our SAML integration. I'm going to type in Mike, and I'm going to move this to .org, which is the user that has access to the authorization policy to log in. I'm going to simply click on sign in. And now you can see, awesome, we have access to Nutanix Enterprise AI. That's a great thing, and I'm super excited that this is working. Stoked about that. Okay. Now, I mentioned previously about a set of tools that you can use to help ensure that your SAML XML file is ready to go. Let's take a look at these. So, using what's called the SAML Toolset portal, this is a great set of tools to use to configure or check digital certificates, code or decode your different files, and then also validate, sign, or even build a metadata file. One of my favorite things is what's called the XML Pretty Print. This is a way to take your formatted XML, and as we upload one here, I'll just use our mock SAML file, and we click on Format XML, and it'll automatically throw it into the right format and give you some really cool descriptions about what's going on. All right, let's recap what we went through today. So we took Nutanix Enterprise AI 2.5 and set SAML on its brand new IDP configuration. We uploaded an XML file, it validated it, and it allowed us to actually go into an authorization policy and pull one of those users in so that we're able to log in. We then tested that user and we got a successful login. So join us next time and join me next time for more information on Nutanix Enterprise AI 2.5.